Okay, welcome to the Zolder track guide. A very technical circuit with lots of chicanes, lots of short straights and a hairpin thrown in. So we come out of pit lane into turn 2. Turn 3 is all kind of one with turn 2, so it's a double apex. Turn 4 is important to set yourself up down one of the longer straights on the circuit. And then we come into the first of the chicanes, the Kleiner chicane. Now my setup's using 3 gears this week, so we're only using 2nd, 3rd and 4th. So I'm 2nd gear for that. Then would be up to 3rd here, back down to 2nd for the Villeneuve chicane. It's easy to pick up off tracks here, so explore the track limits, but be careful with them in the race or you'll end up with a lot of off tracks. Relatively straightforward through that section. Into the hairpin, 2nd gear or 1st gear depending on your set. Through the S's, no need to brake through there. And then into the final chicane. We're using the tighter one this week. So let's go for a slightly faster lap. So heading into turn 1. Braking on the 100-meter board down into 3rd. Just clip the inside apex, let the car wash out to the outside. Down into 3rd again for turn 2. Let the car wash out and bring it back in for the 2nd apex of 3. Up into 4th, back down into 3rd. And use all the track heading into the 1st straight. And we're braking on the 100-meter. Down to 2nd. Don't hit the anti-cut curbing. Straighten the exit out. Get over to the right to set yourself up for this left-hander, and then we're braking before we finish that turn for the Villeneuve chicane. 2nd gear through there, up to 3rd, lift to get the car to turn in and back on the throttle. Now we're heading for the hairpin, braking on the 100-meter again, down to 2nd, square off the exit. And then into the final chicane, again on the 100. So 100 is all you need to remember. Always the 100. 2nd gear again. Don't hit the anti-cut curbs. And then that's a lap of Zolder.
1:31.005.
So let's take a look at a faster lap I did earlier.
Okay, so let's take a look at that faster lap. The first thing I want to mention is when you come out of the last turn, be very careful if you run wide, because you can end up quite easily in this wall. So that's something to bear in mind. Let's just change this camera angle a little bit. That's better. Okay, so heading down into turn 1. A little bit different to some other circuits. The braking point is on the left, so it's quite difficult to spot, especially if you've got another car just slightly in front of you or something like that. So, but it is there. It's the 100-meter board, or just before. And we go down into 3rd gear and grab a little bit of apex curb, let the car wash out, and you can use all of the AstroTurf without getting an off track. Then we want to get the car back over to the left as soon as possible to set up the turn 2. Down into 3rd gear, and we leave it in 3rd through turn 3. So we don't want to get fully back on the throttle here, because we'll just just start wheel spinning. So sort of a 75–80% or all the way through here. And the straighter, the more you use the left-hand side of the track here and straighten out turn 3, then the sooner you can get back on the throttle. Up to 4th gear. Brake in for turn 4 is just when this access path starts to, this little bit extra track here. You can also use this, so I would advise doing so. You want to open out turn 4 as much as you can to get a good exit. Now I cut this just a fraction too much. You don't really want to hit these at all, so get as close to them as you can without hitting them, which is a theme of Zolder. So yeah, I run up over them. You can see the way it unsettles the car there. Which obviously compromises the exit a little bit. Probably not as critical in turn 4 as it would be in other places on the circuit. And we head down into the first chicane, braking on the 100 just before it, down into 2nd gear. Vitally important to miss the anti-cut curbs here, and to try and miss as much of the exit curb as you can, so that you can get back on the throttle and not have to lift again. If you hit this, it'll unsettle the car, you'll probably have to lift. Back over to the right to set up the next left-hander, and then we'll brake in midway through this left-hander for the Villeneuve chicane. So gentle application of the brake, because you can lose the rear very easily, and then get the car as far over to the left as you can to open out the chicane. Again, as close as you can to all of these anti-cut curbs without hitting them. You have to give this one a little bit of space, otherwise you'll get an off track. This was actually a clean lap, so that's probably as close to them as you can get without getting an off track. Again, as close as you can, and then we're 2nd all the way through that chicane up to 3rd. Run the car out to the left, and then there's a bit of a lift here to get it rotated in towards the apex. Excuse me. Up to 4th, and then brake in on the 100-metre board just before it. Down into 2nd, and as with most hairpins in the Audi, you just want to get into the apex as quickly as you can, pretty much stopping the car, turn the car, and then accelerate out. Flat out through Rint. And then again, braking on the 100. So pretty much everywhere other than turn 2 we're braking on the 100. This chicane is quite deceptive because you feel like you're going into it too slowly, and if you go into it a bit quicker you'll miss the apex. So nice and steady on the way in, again as close to the anti-cut curbs as you can. The only ones that I would suggest you can actually cut are the exit on the exit of this chicane. So you can just cut over them slightly to help get a decent exit. Again, do not run wide here, because it will just pull your car into the barrier and end your race. So that's a reasonably good lap of Zolder. Hopefully there's something helpful in this guide.